If you're required to be motivated to do what you say is important, what you say is important is not important. For ages and millennia, there's been a discussion and debate whether or not there's individual meaning and purpose in the world, in individuals, or whether there's meaninglessness and purposelessness and randomness in the universe. These two schools of thought have been going on and raging for a long time. I'm one of the individuals that believe that we have within us two aspects. A part of us that at times perceives chaos and disorder and feels like things are not meaningful and have some sort of intrinsic order in them. And other times when we feel inspired and clear and we feel that there's a meaning and a purpose behind what's happening in our life. And I think that it's the reason the two schools of thought have been debating is because each of us have moments in our life where both are valid. But ultimately, there's a way of accessing a more consistent appreciation and presence and understanding of this purposeful aspect of life. And I've been involved in that really, and first wrote out a mission or purpose statement when I was 17, 18, right at my 18th birthday almost. So each individual, regardless of gender or age or culture, lives moment by moment according to a set of priorities, a set of values, things that are most to least important in their life. And whatever this set of values is, it's determining how they perceive, how they decide, and how they act. And whatever's highest on that list of priorities or values is intrinsic, and it makes us spontaneously inspired to want to act. And whatever's lower on the value list tends to be more extrinsic and requires outside motivations to get us to act. And will require punishments if we don't do it and rewards if we do it to get us to do it. But in the most intrinsic, the highest value, we are spontaneously inspired to pursue whatever that is that's most meaningful to us. This highest value has been defined from the ancient till today as the end in mind, the chief aim by Napoleon Hill. Aristotle called it the telos. And the study of that telos was called teleology. And teleology is the study of meaning and purpose. So each individual has a set of priorities, set of values, and whatever's highest on that priority list, whatever's most important to their life, that they spontaneously can't wait to get up and do, that is the path, the axis of what is most meaningful and most purposeful in their life. So our purpose individually at any moment in time is an expression and reflection and in the direction of what we value most, our highest value, our telos. So that is where our purpose is. Our purpose is that spontaneous yearning to want to fulfill. Now, some people are unaware of what that highest value is in their life. Many people live in the shadows of others, subordinate to other people, attempt to live by conformity, and live by the herd instinct, you might say, fear of rejection from other people, and brain offload decisions onto other people because they're afraid of making decisions. And they let the world and tradition and convention and the mores and the people around them to dictate what they do. And to the degree that they do, they fractionate, splinter, scatter themselves because of all the many different expectations being projected and opportunities projecting onto us about what they think we should do instead of what we would love to do, what's inspiring to us. But what is really, truly highest on our value, what's truly most important to our life, what's truly most meaningful to us, what is most inspiring, spontaneous to us, is the path that will leave us most fulfilled. And that's the path of purpose. Now, there is no collective purpose that everyone can identify by, but there's an individual purpose that's based on that individual's priorities. And where those values come from that drive this is what we could call from voids. And our voids are a result of whatever we've judged in our life. So I'm going to elaborate on this, and pardon me for elaborating for a few minutes, because I want to really build this thing. If we are infatuated with somebody and we're minimize ourselves to them and putting them on a pedestal, and conscious of their upsides and unconscious of their downsides, and conscious of our downsides, unconscious of our upsides, because we're minimizing ourselves and exaggerating them, and we're too humble to admit what we see in them is inside us, and we're dismembering it, deflecting it, disowning that part. That part we're too humble to admit we have that we disown is a void that is a denial of part of ourselves. And if we resent somebody and look down on them, we're conscious of the negatives and unconscious of the positives. And as a result of it, are conscious of our positives and unconscious of our negatives relative to it. And we're too proud to admit what we see in them is inside us. And we deflect it and different, in a sense, disown that part, dismember that part. Again, now we're too proud to admit what we have that, and we disown that. And that is also a void. So anytime we're too proud or too humble to admit what we see in other people around us, they create voids within us that want to be fulfilled. And the summation of all those voids determine our voids, which then drive our set of values to fulfillment. Fulfillment means filling full the mind that appears to be empty or whatever is missing. So tell me what's most missing, I'll tell you what's going to be most important. But it's in our highest value where we're most objective and even-minded and resilient and adaptable and most level-headed and most reasonable and least judging. So it is in our highest value where we transcend the judgments and neutralize the judgments and perceptions that create the voids and give rise to the greatest meaning and fulfillment. When you're infatuated with somebody, you're unconscious of the downsides. When you're resentful of somebody, you're unconscious of the upsides. Your intuition is constantly attempting to reveal to you what you're unconscious of, to make you fully conscious. It's trying to help you be fulfilled and be fully conscious. So your purpose is to fulfill the parts that you're unconscious of and that you're ignorant of, and wake you up to wisdom and the love that sits there inside us when we're fully aware. So when we're living by our highest value, our telos, our most meaningful and purposeful and most inspiring and fulfilling and meaningful area, direction, we neutralize all those judgments. We fulfill all those emptinesses, and it drives us to have the greatest fulfillment in life. So every human being has an identifiable highest value at any moment in time. Whatever is highest on your value, you spontaneously are inspired to do. It's the thing that you tend to fill things around your space with. It's the things you want to spend your time on. It's the things that energize you most, or the thing that energizes you most. It's the thing that if you have money, you'll tend to want to buy things to help you fulfill it. It's the thing that is where you have the most order and organization. It's the thing that makes you most disciplined and reliable and focused on it, because you're spontaneously focused on it. Your innermost dominant thought is an expression of it. You automatically think about it. You automatically visualize it. You automatically talk to yourself about it. You automatically talk to other people about it. You automatically manifest energy and outcomes and show demonstrations that it's important to you by your life, your demonstration of it. You're most inspired by it, brings tears of inspiration when you focus on it, you're acting on it, you see people fulfilling things that are reminding you of it. And the goals that you have are most revolving around that. In fact, your identity revolves around that highest value. The ontological identity, your state of being, the essential self of your own soul, if you will, is in the direction of that highest value. So identifying what's highest on your value is the path of purpose. But many people are clouded and unclear of what that purpose is. Very simply because they're subordinating to the world around them. And the greater the number of people you subordinate on the outside, the more unclear and clouded that becomes. So if you meet somebody in a mall and you see them up on a pedestal and you think, oh, they're more intelligent. And you see somebody, you think they're more successful. Oh, they have more wealth. They have more stable relationship. They're more socially savvy with more Facebook people. They're more spiritually aware. They're more physically fit. The moment you subordinate and minimize yourself to them and put them on a pedestal, you'll disown those parts. You'll inject their values into your life, because all values in the world go from those who have the most power to those that have the least power. If you disempower yourself and disown the parts and not recognize that what you see in them you have inside and disown it, you'll inject the values of those people. You'll try to live in their shadows instead of on their shoulders. And you'll cloud the clarity of what you're called to do in life. And the truth is, inside you, there's a yearning and a calling inside. This calling or métier that's there, it's constantly trying to express itself, is trying to override this outer influence. We're here to stand out, not fit in. And the more we subordinate, we fit in. And we're always trying to be second at being somebody else instead of being first at being who we are. Our authentic, our integral, our essential, soulful self is an expression of that highest value. I've been studying values for over 42 years. I've been helping people in the Breakthrough Experience program and many other programs I do, helping people find them. Because once you access that highest value, you don't need motivation. I don't need motivation to do what I do, teaching or researching. I do it every single day. You don't need motivation in life when you find what that telos is, that highest value. One of the reasons I put the Breakthrough Experience together, that I've been teaching now for 31, almost 32 years, going on 32 years, is for that purpose. That's not the only purpose, but that's the main objective, is to help people identify the part of them that's called, so they don't require motivation. Motivation is a symptom, never a solution for humanity. If you're required to be motivated to do what you say is important, what you say is important is not important. I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm not here doing rhetorical persuasion, trying to get you to do things that is important to me, not onto what you. I'm interested in helping you find out what is inspiring to you, because then you don't need motivation. You're called. And whenever you're doing something that's really, truly highest on your value, and you're truly inspired by that, you will embrace whatever it takes to get it. When the why is big enough, this is your highest value, is your why. When the why is big enough, the purpose is big enough, the hows take care of themselves. You will find solutions to whatever is in the way of that mission in your mind. And ultimately, it's all on the way. But you may assume that there's something in the way. So that highest value is the telos, is the purpose. And your purpose is an expression of what your voids are, all of your judgments, to teach you to love. Now, everybody on the planet has a different set of voids and values, and no two people are the same. They're fingerprint specific. But in the planet, because of the beauty of the way the entanglement, like in physics, works, there's somebody with opposite values, and they're complementary opposite people with opposite sets of values, making sure there's a nice order in the universe between those two, a pair of opposites. And they're, in a sense, entangled, like in quantum physics, between particle and nanoparticle. And they undergo what is called a law of heuristic escalation. Whatever you're pursuing, they're interested in doing the opposite. And that's because the universe makes it where the things that are evolving and consciously alive are constantly undergoing building and destroying, so they can transform, so they can be resilient and adaptable to an evolving world. And you need to have both support and challenge, similar in differences in values, in order to have an evolutionary process. But your contribution, in addition to the opposite contribution, together make a pair and make a transformational energy that makes life work. So you have a purpose, and that purpose is an expression of your voids, and that purpose is manifested in your highest value, your telos. And if you identify that and you get clear on that, you liberate yourself from a lot of distraction, scatter energy. Light is absorbed or scattered. And if it's absorbed, it's because you're inspired. If it's scattered, it's because you're trying to live under other people's expectations and values. But we're not here to live in those shadows of anyone. We're here to, again, stand on the shoulders of giants. We're here to identify what do we see in them inside ourselves, so we don't have to sit there and minimize ourselves. We stand up and realize that we have whatever we see in them. Anything we see of greatness in others that inspire us, the reason it wakes it up is because we know inside already, even though we're too humble to maybe admit it, that what we see in them we have, or we wouldn't even be able to respond to it. So identifying what that highest value is. On my website, there's a complimentary value determination process. It's a 13-step process. I went over a few of them a moment ago. And in the breakthrough experience, I go through it and I make people do it because I want them to access what that is. And if a person will just go through and do that and consistently do that and do it again a week from now and a month from now and a quarter from now, and keep records of them and look at what is it you're doing. Because at first when some people ask you, how do you fill your space and time, you'll distort your answers because you'll write down what you think it should be. You'll write down what is an idealist, and you write down what other people expect, what you think it should be, ought to be, what it used to be, what you hope it will be. You got to be integral with an answer to identify what's really committed to. Your life demonstrates your values, your hierarchy of values, and demonstrates your highest value because you spontaneously do it, because your perception, decisions, or actions are based on it. So finding out what that highest value is one of the most significant things I've found in all the work I've been doing all these years, and why I spend so much time in breakthrough experience and other programs helping people do it. I rarely ever do a talk without that because of it, because it's so important. Thank you for joining me for this presentation today. If you found value out of the presentation, please go below and please share your comments. We certainly appreciate that feedback. And be sure to subscribe and hit the notification icons. That way I can bring more content to you and share more to help you maximize your life. I look forward to our next presentation. Thank you so much for joining.